Radio Radicale, ci occupiamo di ambiente, lo facciamo con Lalit Shastri, che ha pubblicato questo libro dal titolo Bhopal Disaster 38 anni fa. Allora, il libro racconta uno dei più grossi disastri ambientali del pianeta, che è avvenuto nel 1984, quando nel centro dell'India una nube tossica provocò praticamente un genocidio. Morirono circa 16.000 persone senza che le autorità facessero nulla. Noi siamo qui con l'autore, che si chiama appunto Lalit Shastri, per parlare di quello che accadde nel 1984. You lived in Bhopal in the 1984. Can you say about this disaster in the center of India? What do you remember? And can you say about the authority of India?
It was December 2 and 3, midnight, 1984, when
At beginning of December.
Yeah, beginning of
The first
December.
day.
Yeah. It was beginning of December when tons of deadly poisonous gas, methyl isocyanate, it leaked from the Union Carbide pesticide plant in Bhopal. And immediately when this happened, nobody knew what's happening except the people, especially living close to the Union Carbide pesticide factory. They suffered something in the air, and they left their homes for fresh air. But the moment they came out, it was even more deadlier. And people started falling by the wayside as they were running away from this poisonous gas. And more they inhaled, the more was the effect. And there were some lucky few who had automobiles, two-wheelers, and they fled on that. So they inhaled less of the poisonous gas, but those who ran, they were the worst sufferers. And within a matter of few hours, the closest hospital, it's called the Hamidia Hospital, it had flooded by people, all wanting medical attention, and they were gasping for breath. And many of them, they were drowning in their own body fluid because of the effect on their lungs of this gas. And the doctors had no idea what has to be the antidote for this. So they were grappling with the situation. And this situation went on for next 1 week. And it was the lungs, the eyes were affected, people were getting blinded. And in this situation, Bhopal was caught, and it was a nightmare. It was a Holocaust, unimaginable Holocaust Bhopal went through. And I was in Bhopal, I belong to Bhopal. I was there to take part. I was taking the Indian Civil Services examination. I was young then, and we had an exam that morning, and it was postponed for a month. And there and then I decided, I'm not taking this exam. I'm going to devote myself into investigating the causes leading to the disaster and to identify the culprits behind it.
In how many days? 16,000 deaths. In how many days?
Immediately, within a few days, the death figures that we received was between 1,500 and 2,000. So within a week, that was the figure of the dead. But this is what was reported by the hospitals. People were dying on the roads, and they were being cremated or buried, and many figures did not come. But gradually, as days passed, now even the government figures are estimated that about 20,000, more than 20,000 have died, and more than about 500,000 people have been affected or critically affected by the gas. And when I say critically affected, there are victims who have suffered irreversible lung damage. There are persons who have been blinded. There is still a lot of toxic waste which is lying in the Union Carbide pesticide factory that has been shut down. But the waste lies there in the open to the elements. And when it rains, it percolates, goes down. So the groundwater is getting poison. And a lot of people who are living in the close neighborhoods of the factory plant, they even now take recourse to water by hand pumps or tube wells, and the water is poisoned. So they are having a genetic effect of this toxic gas that's there, and they're suffering a lot because of this. And because of their irreversible lung damage, because of the toxic effect, there has even been genetic impact on the victims. And even the young ones who are being born today, they are also suffering. There are children being born without pellets, without fingers, without their full arms, and they have a cleft in their lips, and they are also not growing. Their growth is also stunted. I've come across young children in the teens, but they look like 5 or 6 years old. That's the effect of the gas.
What was the reaction of the political authority of India? Who was the president of India in 1984?
In 1984, the prime minister was Rajiv Gandhi.
Rajiv Gandhi.
Rajiv Gandhi was the prime minister. And in Madhya Pradesh, the province.
It's the son of Indira Gandhi.
Indira Gandhi.
Okay,
yes.
okay. Yes.
And in Madhya Pradesh also, there was the same party which was in power at the federals and at the province. And what we noticed was that the multinational company, Union Carbide, and those in the government, they were very close. And how close they were gets demonstrated by the fact that the chairman of Union Carbide, Anderson, when he came to Bhopal, he was arrested. He was arrested and put in the Union Carbide guest house, which was like a 5-star hotel. And he was put there, and within a few hours, he was released. And in an official vehicle, he was driven to the airport. And in the Madhya Pradesh government, the province government, in their state aircraft, he was flown to Delhi and flown out of India. And he was never brought back for accountability.
After Bhopal, what was changed in about the attention of political authority in India and in the continent of Asia? Nothing.
You have asked a very significant question. Immediately after the disaster, we were having elections to the parliament, and Bhopal was also a constituency. And it returned a member to parliament from the ruling party. And when the political analysts, when they had to analyze, what they analyzed was those who were really affected, they were not taken care of as much as they should have been, but a large area of the city was declared gas affected, and a lot of compensation was paid to people who were not affected. And so they felt obliged that the government is taking good care of them, and they returned a representative to parliament from the ruling party, which was there when the disaster struck.
What you are worried about the future of planet Earth after the COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh? What do you think about the future of planet and after this summit?
When you talk of COP27, I've been watching it closely, and two things that caught my attention, and this was in context of the Bhopal disaster. One, they've had these theme discussions every day. So about 10 days ago, they had a discussion on agriculture and agriculture production and how to take care of the food requirements of 8 billion people on Earth. And the moment they talked of this, I was reminded, I went back in time. India, it became independent in 1947, and we had a lot of food shortage. And we were getting wheat from America. Then those in power in India, they decided we have to do something drastically to not be reliant on other countries, but we should have enough food production. So they went through a green revolution. And green revolution was going in for hybrid seeds, wheat and rice to begin with, in the mid-60s, and a lot of irrigation. But by mid-70s, the whole India was brought under the green revolution program. And 1975, Union Carbide realized that this is the opportunity, and they came to India because pesticide was required. And they came, and then a lot of compromises in terms of safety, in terms of the quality of the plant that they had built. So my caution is, when you're talking of 8 billion people, we should ensure that there's no carbide repetition of this, because again we'll need pesticides, again we'll need fertilizers and so on. This is one point. And when we talk of the fund for damage and paying for damage, when we talk of reducing the global warming, when we talk of so many areas where the whole world has to be one. So we have to ensure, and there's also a debate among the economists. They say we should be minimalist, others say we should be essentialist, and some say we should have a market-driven economy, demand-driven economy, more production, the merrier. Some say more is less, some say less is more, but we have to come out of this trap and once for all decide that there has to be sustainability, and at no cost there should be any compromise, any man-made disaster. We should not lose lives the way we did in Bhopal.
The last question. Bhopal can happen again today?
Yes. I would say we needed a Bhopal. It's an irony to shake us out of our slumber. But even today we see a scenario, even in India, because my reference point is in India. I travel. Traveling, I see small little cities. You have factories billowing a lot of smoke, a lot of smog in the air, and a lot of waste being emitted, but not the statutory warnings being followed. So what one sees is many Bhopals simultaneously. Everyone is waiting for an accident to once more shake them up. A lot needs to be done. The laws are in place, but enforcement, the human factor, has to be taken care of with an iron fist, is what I would say.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lalit Shastri. Io la ringrazio molto e invito tutti a cercare informazioni e comunque a leggere questo libro di Lalit Shastri dal titolo Bhopal Disaster, 38 anni fa, che è edito in inglese ma che comunque rappresenta un elemento importante per capire a che punto siamo arrivati a quali rimedi dobbiamo porre per salvare il pianeta. Thank you again, Mr. Shastri.